Hello and welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about whether or not your kids are resourceful.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hey, welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about whether or not your kids are resourceful, or if we're teaching our kids resourcefulness. Oh, wow. This is kind of exciting for me because being an entrepreneur, being someone who likes to think outside the box, someone who empowers people to think positively. My son comes to me the other day, and these kids, 7.5 years old, he has Pokemon cards, and he literally was like, "Dad, one of my friends has a Pokemon card that I want, and I have one that he wants, and we're gonna trade." And I was like, "That's awesome. That's called barter. You and I have talked about bartering before to get the things that we want. Before there was money, there was barter, right?" So I said, but they created money, and we talk about these things because it was really hard if I had oranges and you had apples, but I didn't need apples. That basically, without you having what I need, and it's just real difficult to get the things that you want. So I thought it was exciting that he was actually going to go trade something. So he came home and he's like, "Check out the card that I got." He goes, but he doesn't want to, he just wants to loan it to me. He wants to keep his card. He wants to give it to me for a day. So I want this card. I said, "So you're going to give him back his card tomorrow, right?" He says, "Yeah, but I want this card." And I said, "Well, dude, make him an offer he can't refuse. You got other cards. And just put some of the cards that aren't your favorites together and say, listen, I'll give you these 4 or 5 cards and for your one card, but I want to keep it." And he goes, he's not going to do that. I said, "Okay, well then find another way to acquire your card," which is funny to me because he's becoming resourceful, right? So first he became resourceful. His friend had a card, and they were going to swap, and then it didn't pan out the way he wanted because his friend wanted to swap back. So what does he do? I've taught him well. I've taught him to shop and to find deals, and we're not going to do anything unless it's a deal. So he literally went to Amazon. He looked up the card, and he found the card for $1.11, shipped, free shipping. So it's going to cost $1.11 to get this particular card. Now a pack of cards of like 10 is $5, and I'm thinking to myself, it's not necessarily the best deal. So I said, let's go to I said, I'm not buying one card for $1.11. That's not being resourceful. We need to find a way for you to get what you want without spending money. Because I don't want to teach him that, hey, if I don't have it, I just go buy it. I want him to be resourceful. Now, he said he would use his money. I don't want him wasting his money on a card, and I don't want his solution in life that every time he doesn't have something, he thinks, let's just go buy it, because there are other ways to acquire things. We could barter. We can work for it, right? If you want to work for something, not just hit your piggy bank. If you want to work it off somehow, if I'm willing to pay you. If I'm not willing to pay you, maybe you go to mom. If mom's not willing to pay you, maybe you go knock on a neighbor's door and say, "Can I take out your trash this week for $1?" I don't care what you do, but you need to become more resourceful than, hey, I'm just going to go spend money, because then I'm not teaching him life skills. So I said, where are your Pokemon cards? We haven't really played with them. They haven't been out a lot. These are things he got from the Tooth Fairy last year. So I said to him, let's go. How many cards do you have? He's like, I don't know, 10, 20. So I said, I think you got a lot more than 10 or 20 Pokemon cards, and I'm sure there's a lot of them that you don't even care for, that you could package together with your friend to get what you want. And I'm sure you have some stuff he wants. So we go into his treasure chest, and we start digging through his treasure chest, which has all kinds of trinkets and tchotchkes and one-offs. And so we open up this chest and we start digging through, and we find 117 Pokemon cards. Pokemon, he always laughs at me because I say Pokemon and it's Pokemon. And as we're going, he's like, I didn't even know I had this card. And I said, see how excited you are about some of the stuff? Did Daddy really need to buy a card? You didn't even realize how much stuff you had. Did I really need? Aren't you excited? This is like Christmas. You got 117 Pokemon cards when you thought you had 20. That's 97 more than you thought you had. Isn't this better than me just ordering something? And he was like, yeah. I said, do you think you can use some of these cards in a barter situation with your friend or some other friends to get some of the cards that you want? Because some of these cards maybe aren't your favorites. I was like, yeah, I think I can do that. I said, so this is what I suggest. Do not bring the cards to school that are like your best, that you absolutely want. Because what's going to happen is your friends are going to become resourceful themselves. He says, what do you mean? I said, you're going to have some awesome cards that other kids want, and they may start presenting, hey, I'll give you this card, and this card to give me that card. And then you're going to be faced with choices. Or in this particular case, and I told him, a dilemma. He's like, what's a dilemma? I said, dilemma is you don't want to part with your card, but you want all their cards, and you're going to have to make choices or decisions. But if you don't bring those cards that you don't want to part with, you're not going to be faced with any of that. And he was like, okay. So I said, how many cards do you have in your backpack today? He was like, I got 10, Dad. I said, how many did you have yesterday? He's like, I only had 2. I said, okay, so you're going to school prepared to trade. I like it. And this is him acquiring what he wants, getting rid of some things he doesn't want, but getting value for those things. But his original solution, right? His original solution, once he faced a dilemma, I got to give this card back that I don't really want to give back, was, well, I'm just going to go buy it. And that's not being resourceful. Using your own funds to buy something you don't need. And what I said to him, I said, here's my biggest challenge with you purchasing that. As we were digging through his treasure chest of 117 Pokemon cards, I said, I don't want you spending your money on something that is going to end up in a treasure box and lost for the next year. That doesn't add value to your life. I said, not only that, there's something you've been saving up for that you want, and you're not going to be able to acquire it if you keep spending your money, because you're always buying these little things, but you really want that one big thing. He goes, Dad, I don't think I'm ever going to make the money to buy that big thing. I said, summer's coming up. We're going to have a lemonade stand, and we're going to work that lemonade stand. And Daddy's going to help you, and you are going to get the money to buy that. But right now, you're halfway there. And if you keep spending it, we're going to be right back to square zero, and you're going to have to work twice as hard to get it. But I know you're capable of doing that, because we're going to be resourceful. We're going to create a business where you can make money, but we're going to have to put in a little work. But it's going to be his own hard work. And he's at a point where he's starting to be able to do some real yard work and helping Dad bring things up to the curb when we're cutting down branches or trees or trimming things and putting things in bags and lifting those bags. And maybe, just maybe, he starts getting compensated for doing some of this harder things. I will not compensate him for making his bed, doing chores around the house, because he's a part of this family. But some of those more manual labor things, and he's not going to get paid well. So being resourceful, one of the favorite things I ever read in a book was, I think it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, in this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the rich dad is the one who is rich with knowledge and money about knowledge about money and how to make money grow. And he said, hey, I'll pay you if you clean my whole office. And then he cleaned the office, he made it spick and span, and then when he came in and he says, no, you didn't do a good enough job. And he worked a couple more hours and made it perfect and dusted and got underneath things. And when he got done, he says, okay, I'm ready to get paid. And he flipped him a quarter. And he says, I just worked like all day long and you're going to give me a quarter? He says, yeah, you're 8 years old. You have no skills in life whatsoever, but yet you're able to clean my office. And anybody can clean an office, even an 8-year-old. So in order to get paid well, you have to be able to do things that not everybody else can do. Everybody can clean. So you get paid for what everybody else can do, like what everybody else gets paid like. So you only get paid a quarter because it takes no specialized skills. So I suggest if you want to get paid more in life, that you acquire skills that not everybody has and go to school and acquire these things. Otherwise, you'll always get paid that way. See, I like that because it drove him to think differently and want to achieve more in life. He became more resourceful because he didn't want to get paid like everybody else. So my question to you is, and maybe this is the question you pose and answer for yourself, what is it that you're doing to make your own kids resourceful? And if you're not, it's probably because you're not being resourceful yourself. See, I don't know jack about parenting, but I know that this life we live is a difficult one if we don't have the skill sets necessary. So develop your own skill sets and also develop your kids. I'll end on this thought. As I make these podcasts, I'll tell you every single day, I think to myself, what do I have to offer to anybody who's listening to this? And maybe you're sitting there going, are you kidding me? These are great. Or maybe you're sitting there going, yeah, I've listened to a few and these are useless. I don't know who the audience is, to be honest with you. I just continue to share my thoughts and my lessons in hopes that I impact one person. But I'll tell you, as I do it, I get better and better and better. Not only do I get better, but my son sees that I do this. And guess what? He doesn't have a challenge doing presentations. He doesn't have a challenge getting in front of a camera. He's super shy, but he sees me do it, and guess what? He's not afraid of it. So if the only thing I get out of this is that my son is able to communicate in front of a camera or on a recorder, this podcast will be worth it. But it's only because I'm willing to get outside of my comfort zone every single day that he is going to stay, and that just may be his comfort zone, is talking into a camera because he sees daddy doing it. Have an awesome day. We'll see you in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.